Leetcode problem 2114. Maximum number of words found in a sentence. A sentence is a list of words that are separated by a single space with no leading or trailing spaces. You're given an array of strings sentences where each sentence I represents a single sentence. Return the maximum number of words that appear in a single sentence. So based on this statement, we are given the vector of string named sentences, and what we have to do is to return the maximum number of words that appear in a single sentence. So as we know, basically the logic of this program will be going this array right here can be rewritten as like this: Alice and Bob love Leetcode, say something like this. Then I think so too. Then last one is this is great, thanks very much. So this is the vector written in more appropriate way that is more understandable for humans. So what we have to do is we have to check every sentence in a vector, so every string sentence in a vector, and to find out which one will have the maximum number of words. And the one way to do it is, first we're gonna create our for loop called int I, and this for loop will iterate this for loop basically gonna iterate 3 times in the first example, because the size of a vector here is 3. As we can see, this one will be 1, 2, and 3. But this is not enough for us. Since we are trying to get each element of the array, we will have to create another for loop called int j. Well, before we create this for loop, we have to create a string. Let's call it here string x. And what this x string is gonna hold the sentences at the index I, meaning the 0. So first x is gonna hold this statement, then it's gonna hold this statement when I gets incremented by 1, and then it's gonna hold the last statement when it gets incremented by 1 again. So we will use this x in the next for loop as a condition for our second inner for loop. So every time j is less than length of an x, so meaning this, the length of the whole string right here, and we're gonna increment the j, and now we can get access to each element in the vector. First we are accessing the vector. As we can see, we can in this for loop we are accessing the 3 vectors, and in the second for loop we are accessing each element in the vector A, L, I, C, E. So inside of it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna count the single spaces basically. because as we know, every time there is a single space, as we know, every time there is a single space in the sentence, it means that there is words. So let's say hello world. Just by counting this sentence, and if there is like this, just by counting this single space, we can identify that there is 2 words in here. So similarly, we're gonna write down as x, j, every time x at the index j reaches to the single space, let's create our counter, assign it as 1. And the reason why the counter is assigned to 1 is because if inside of a sentence we don't have any single spaces, it means that there is one word, basically. That's the idea behind it. So yeah, and here counter will get incremented, and actually we should do something like this and write counter inside of it. This one. The second variable that we're gonna create is gonna be result, which will hold 0, and here will be the most important expression called result counter. What this result is gonna do is gonna hold the maximum value of these two, result and the counter. In the first example, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, as the counter starts at 1. So the result will hold 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the counter starts at 1, so it will hold 5. And in the second one, it's gonna hold 1, 2, 3. Result will hold 4. And in the last one, it's gonna hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As the counter starts at 1, it will hold 6, and it's gonna return the 6. This max function right here is a built-in function in C++. It is used to store the maximum value between 2 variables. The reason why result is assigned to 0 is because we want to get the maximum variable. So we need to use any variable because max is used to calculate 2 or more variables in general, so that's why result is used. You can name it anything, it doesn't really have anything to do with it. The main idea is that the result is used as a condition for this max function to work. And if we return the result back to the main function, it should give us some positive result. As we can see, let's try to run it, see if it works. Yes, it does.